The door now.
Start again. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so start with come on in?
Yeah.
Come on in. This is our building. This is the former school building for St. Francis Cabrini Catholic Church. This was their preschool and elementary school building. And this is our foyer. We have an office complex over here for office work and the things we do for the office. This is our advocacy office, and we just moved in September 1st, so
2008.
2018.
2018. Did I say 8? 2018.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is Jack O'Connor. He's our
Hey,
school
Jack
director.
O'Connor.
Hello.
Jack is largely responsible for the building being organized. He has worked tirelessly for the last week trying to get everything put up. So, and this is the person who has transformed our school. Jack is a board-certified behavior analyst, came to us from Boston with a lot of experience, and he has really turned this into a special place for kids.
So if you have a child with autism, would they be interviewed by him?
They would, yes.
And what are some of the things you're looking for that would allow kids to come to this school?
Really just a need for a different type of learning environment. It's something that we strive to provide for our students.
Mm-hmm.
And just
How different is it than like public school?
we have a much different student to teacher ratio. We have really small classes. Average class size is 7 students, and usually there's at least 3 staff in the class with those students. So
Do you take kids on all the spectrum of autism, or?
yes, yep. For the most part, we have students that are very verbal and have mostly just kind of some social needs, and then students that are non-speaking and require a great deal of support.
Great.
So.
Well, thank you. All right,
Okay.
let's continue with the tour.
Okay, so this is our conference space. When families come in for IEP meetings, which are individual education plan meetings, this is where they meet. It's a private spot, even though it's very open, it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where families work with staff and with the students to develop the IEP. That's
And
going to
what's
be called
IEP?
an IEP is an individual education plan, and that is the plan that we use for a student. When a student enrolls here, they've already had assessments, but we do additional assessments. We talk with parents, we talk with the students a lot of times if they're able to do that, and come up with a plan for what we need to, what challenges they have, what are our goals and objectives for those children, what are their goals and objectives for themselves. We lay out a plan.
What are some typical objectives for kids on the spectrum?
Well, it can vary. It can be to teach them how to brush their teeth, or wash their face, or wash their hands, or it may be to teach them how to look at a person when they meet them, shake their hand, speak, and hold eye contact. It really depends. Academically, it's more predictable. If you've already mastered arithmetic and subtraction, now you're ready for multiplication and division, and so those would be your goals. For a lot of our children, where communication is such an issue, it may be to say 3-word sentences, or it may even be to say 1 word to identify, to be able to speak verbs, or to be able to identify objects by name, nouns. And then, of course, it's just language development. It's the same thing that everybody goes through. You start with 1 word, then you go to 2 or 3, and then you go to a sentence with 5, and then you put sentences together, speaking. And of course, at the same time, they're trying to learn how to spell, and all the other things that we do in school academically. And so wherever that student is, what we're doing is looking at where they want to be, where they need to go next. And then we plan the steps to get them there, and these fabulous teachers that we have get it done.
So Patti, you are the only accredited school of autism in the Southeast. Why is it so important for kids that have autism to go to a school like this and not like the public school, or not like another organization that's not certified?
That's a good question. First, let me say the public schools do a great job with an awful lot of kids. Statistically, there are about 2,400 children in our area, that's in the 4-county area, Coastal Empire, who have autism. we have 30 students at our school. So first of all, just want to make it clear that the school systems are doing well for a lot of children. However, the children that we have are children who were not succeeding in those schools. And so they come to us because they have very specific issues that they want to work on. Average stay here is only 4 years. So our job is to help the child identify their particular issues, really work in a very focused, deliberate, concentrated way, and help them learn to manage or accomplish whatever it is that's been an impediment for them, and then they're ready to go out and succeed in the larger world. So that's our goal for them. When they leave to go back to the larger school setting, that is success.
That is success. Okay, let's
That
see
is.
your office
Okay,
here.
so this is my office, and my board chair, Sue Adler, is here working.
Hey, Sue Adler.
So,
Gosh, what a beautiful office. This space is phenomenal.
isn't this great? I mean, you saw where we were.
Yes. I mean, you're in a real school
Yeah,
setting.
it is.
Absolutely. Do you know how many square feet this is?
It's close to 8,800.
Yeah, I love to see a classroom and how they look different.
I'm going to show you. And of course, Jack's office is back here. And then we
Admin's
have
back
a
here.
second small office for the BCB, for our second BCBA. This is our advocacy office. I'm not opening it yet.
That's fine.
Thank you. The children made those, the students.
Listen, I think this is wonderful.
They're great, aren't they? They're for the taking. This is our lunchroom, and hey guys, in our special event area, the children have lunch here every day,
Okay.
but they also spend other time here. Now, please go ahead and get something to eat. Feel free to. Children, all of our students here receive. All of our students here receive, in addition to academics, they receive occupational therapy, physical therapy, a lot of speech therapy, and then we also do music therapy. So this is the occupational and physical therapy space.
What is this thing do?
This is a swing, a comfort swing. When swinging, well, the swinging sort of settles all of us down, but for children with autism, it's particularly calming. So if the child is having a rough day, if they're if they just are kind of jumped up inside, they'll come here, they can swing, and it just calms them down.
What else calms them down?
Soft light. A lot of our lights dim in this building so that classrooms can be dimmed.
Low noise.
Low noises, yeah, really calm voices. Slow movement, lots of space, or maybe a little bit of space. It depends on it. Every child is different, and that's the beauty of what we do here. Because, as Jack said, our student-teacher ratio is so small, we are able to really cater to the individual child. So what works for one kid may not be what the other one. I mean, it may be the opposite of what another child needs, and we're able to do that because we have this very small, intimate setting.
So for folks tuning in, we are at the grand opening open house event at the Matthew Reardon Autism Center. Come on out. Right now we're doing a tour.
We'll be here till 6:45, and then the offices for occupational therapy. This is our.
But don't do it for me if they want to earn what they want to earn.
Would you close that door for me, please?
Sure.
So this is our speech pathologist office, and this is where she works with students one-on-one or maybe two-on-one, because it's not just how do you talk, it's how do you interact. And so she does a lot of that here. She also works in the classroom with the students so that they learn how to communicate in the classroom setting itself.
What would one of the exercises look like?
And
Is she here tonight?
No, she's not. Her daughter's sick today.
Okay.
Well, some of it may be as simple as trying to. We have 4 or 5 nonverbal students who don't speak at all, and so some of it may be trying to help them form words. It may be trying to help them exercise the muscles in their esophagus and in their mouths to form words. It may be to work for children who really are nonverbal. Several of our children use communication devices, which are iPads with special software on them, and she may be training them how to use those devices. For our older students, it might be practicing how you order a hamburger at McDonald's, or how you order food in a restaurant, or how you go through the checkout in a grocery store, because those are things
Life
that
skills,
we do.
yeah.
They're life skills, and those are things that we actually do field trips for. To go out into the community, to go to the library to check out a book, to go to the grocery store to buy food, to ride the bus, and all of that requires communication. So they practice here, and then go out into the community and practice in the real world. So.
All right, we're heading back to the classroom section. And do you divide them up by grade or by ability, or how do you do that?
It's both. We are an ungraded school, but we do have an elementary classroom. We have a middle school classroom. We have another classroom that's sort of middle school to high school, and then we have a high school classroom. So it is. So this is our high school classroom. We love it. All of our classrooms have smart boards, thanks to St. Francis Cabrini. So this is the boys walking to the grocery store from our old location.
How was our field trip to the park? Forsyth?
Yeah.
I noticed beanbag chairs.
Yes. We're very comfort oriented here. Our students do not wear uniforms. Again, people with autism frequently have sensory issues that can affect their touch, smell, taste, vision, hearing. So one of the things that kids don't have to deal with here is uncomfortable clothes. They wear the clothes that we do make them change clothes. Because some of them wear the same clothes every day, but especially in our little guys. And you ask what do we do? Sometimes we have a child who comes in who will not wear, but who will only wear one outfit, and so that would be an IEP goal. That one day a week we're going to wear something else, or maybe maybe we're going to wear it to school and change when we get. It's all kinds of fun stuff.
Now, do you have PE recess?
We have recess here, and of course the students get physical and occupational therapy, but we're getting ready to start a formal physical education program. We're working with our therapists, and there are a couple of professors at Georgia Southern that we've spoken with briefly, and so that's part of our plan, because we have never had a playground before.
Right.
We've
Is
never
that
had an outdoor
playground out there?
space. We have 2 playgrounds. This is
Let's go look out
big
there.
kids, and
So tell me what it means to be accredited.
the Georgia Accrediting Commission has standards for schools. There are many accrediting associations. Georgia Accrediting Association means that our building meets certain standards for the comfort and security of children. It means that our curriculum meets certain standards that are consistent with the state. But it also, because we are a school with we're an education agency with special needs. A special
For
needs
autism,
purpose.
yeah.
And which is a different classification than you would have, say, for another private school or for a public school, and that gives us leeway to do some things differently, but we still have to report outcomes and goals and that sort of thing. So
That's a huge accomplishment to be accredited.
it is. It's important.
For the
It's
best
important
care
it's
for the
important for the
student.
welfare of the children, but it's also really important for parents to know. It's a standard, it's a credential that tells parents that that this organization. It's sort of like being a United Way agency. If you're a United Way agency, financially you're sound. You've got your ducks in a row, and the accreditation process is the same thing. From an education standpoint, you are doing what we need to do for the students to make sure that they're safe, and to make sure they're learning and that they are accomplishing what they need to accomplish.
Awesome. Let's just take a peek real fast,
Okay.
and then I know you got to get back to the open house.
So if
This
we
is
go out
all
this,
yours?
Okay, if we go out this door, it's going to lock behind us, so we'll have to come back through the front.
Okay.
It's a security issue. So this is all ours. All of this
Wow.
is ours. Isn't this fabulous? I mean,
This is
just
amazing. Patty, this
It
is
is.
just great.
It is.
This is
It
great.
is. We're going to have our Thanksgiving feast under the covered gazebo back when it's time. Before we've had it outside, but this time we're going to have it in the covered area.
Do kids on the spectrum like PE? Do they like physical activities, or do you have to?
I was always under the impression since coming to Matthew Reardon, our kids didn't really like the outdoors. They have loved having these playgrounds. So I don't know the answer to that about other children, but I know that our children come out here at least twice a day. And once again, if we have a student who's just really having a hard day, those swings almost always have at least one student on them, and a teacher. But our kids are so much happier here, and it's hard to say exactly why. Because everything about where we are now is so much nicer, so much better suited for the day for our students and for our teachers and the parents. I think the parents are very excited and just love what we're doing. But no, the outdoor recess has been a huge leap forward for all of our kids. And they really do play.
For folks joining us, this is Patti Victor. She is the Executive Director, President, CEO of the Matthew Reardon Center of Autism, and they have a new location. It's the former Francis Cabrini School.
St. Francis Cabrini.
Yep. It's 8,000 square feet. I mean, you're in a real school now.
We are.
Yep. I guess we need to walk around here.
We have to walk around. Yep, we're locked out.
The stats are that 1 in 59 children will be diagnosed with autism somewhere on the spectrum, right?
That's correct, yes.
Is it true that Asperger's is now being included in that spectrum?
Asperger's is on the high intellectual end. Autism really does run a spectrum, and we really like to. Some people talk about high function, low function, but what we find is more accurate is to speak in terms of high support and low support, because different people need different supports. You can have a person who's got a very, very high intelligence level who needs an enormous amount of support. You can find people who are lesser intelligence, what we would call average or maybe a little bit below average, and they don't require as many supports because socially, communication-wise, they're in a better place. So we really like to talk in terms of support needs rather than high functioning or low functioning.
So if somebody has a very young child, 1 or 2 or 3 years old, what are some of the signs that you should look for? To tell if they're on in very young children, in that 1-year-old, 2-year-old, what you're really looking at is eye contact, wanting to be touched or held, enjoying that, cuddling. Depends. It can be too much. Again, it's a disorder. Everything about autism occurs in all of us. It just in people with autism, it occurs with an intensity that disorders their ability to live a typical life. So a child may never look at you, or a child may stare into your eyes and never drop your gaze. Both of those are inappropriate behaviors, right? But totally different. How will you deal with that? A really important one is if a very young child begins to babble and make noises and then they stop. And sometimes they'll even have a few words, and then right around the age of 2, they stop. And so anytime you see a regression in communication skills, that's a huge red flag. So where can folks watching go online, your website, to find out more symptoms?
To find out if you suspect that your child has any kind of developmental disability, your young child under the age of 3, call the public health department and ask for Babies Can't Wait. That is a wonderful program that's available statewide. It does not require a physician's referral. It is simply a parent has a concern. You call the health department and ask for Babies Can't Wait, and you will get a call back, and they will come out and talk with you and begin an assessment to see what's going on and to help. So if you have a very young child, that's where I would start.
Okay, so Patti, remind us.
If you want to read, if you want to read online, go to the Centers for Disease Control website and search for autism on their website, and they have a program called Milestone Moments, and it is an excellent program for helping parents identify developmental delays and talk with their pediatricians about their concerns. So that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Google autism once you get there, and it'll take you to it.
So if you identify it at a younger age, is there a better chance of them assimilating into society?
Yes. The
Is
earlier
that what
the intervention, the better the
Okay.
prognosis. Absolutely.
So remind everybody watching what's happening today.
Well, today we're having an open house. We moved in here on September 1st, and so we had some construction to do to make it a little more meet for our needs. And today we're having our open house. We've invited all of our friends, our families, our students, our legislators. Our local legislative delegation have been real champions for the Matthew Reardon Center, and we're very grateful to them that they are making possible this service within our community, because there's nothing like us in the state of Georgia outside Metro Atlanta. So thank you to our local legislation delegation. We've also invited the congregation of St. Francis Cabrini, because they have been so gracious to share their building with us.
A wonderful partnership.
We just have lots of folks, and I'm going to have to go. I
Yes.
got to go.
And who are we giving an award to tonight?
We're giving an award to Ron Stevens. It's the Marie McGaughey Childhood Philanthropy Award. Ron has been a great friend to us, but also to children across the state. He's been very supportive all of his career, but particularly these last 8 years while Governor Nathan Deal has really pushed for services for children. So thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Marjorie.